Israel Adesanya on if he regrets calling Alex Pereira that guy in a bar. The former UFC middleweight champion has always been confident in his words, but his past comments about Pereira have taken on new weight after their intense rivalry. Adesanya initially dismissed the Brazilian knockout artist as just another challenger, downplaying his abilities before their first MMA clash. However, Pereira proved he was far more than that, delivering a shocking 5th round TKO to take Adesanya's title at UFC 281. That loss marked the 3rd time Pereira had bested him, having already defeated him twice in kickboxing. When they met again at UFC 287, Adesanya finally got his revenge, knocking Pereira out in brutal fashion and reclaiming his belt. Looking back, Adesanya acknowledges that his words might have underestimated Pereira, but he insists that underestimating an opponent was never his mindset. It was just part of the fight game. He believes the rivalry only pushed him to evolve, forcing him to make necessary adjustments and grow as a fighter. Now, with Pereira reigning as the UFC light heavyweight champion, speculation continues over whether the two could meet again in the future. Adesanya, having recently lost his middleweight title to Sean Strickland, is focused on redemption, but a potential move to 205 pounds for another showdown with Pereira remains an exciting possibility. Despite their history, Adesanya holds no personal grudges, seeing Pereira as a worthy rival rather than an enemy. He knows the fight game is about competition at the highest level, and Pereira was simply another obstacle in his journey. Whether their paths cross again remains uncertain, but for now, Adesanya is determined to reclaim his place at the top and prove that his legacy is far from finished. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Renato Moicano believes that many are underestimating Henry Cejudo. Despite being one of the most decorated athletes in UFC history, Cejudo continues to be overlooked by fans and analysts ahead of his next fight. Moicano, who has never shied away from speaking his mind, recently addressed this issue, stating that people forget just how dangerous Cejudo truly is. The former 2-division champion is not just another fighter, he is an Olympic gold medalist, a former UFC flyweight and bantamweight champion, and one of the most strategic competitors the sport has ever seen. While Cejudo's return fight against Aljamain Sterling didn't go as planned, Moicano believes that loss should not define his current skill level. He pointed out that Cejudo had been inactive for 3 years before stepping into the octagon with Sterling, yet still managed to push the former bantamweight champion to his limits. Many critics argue that Cejudo's time away from the sport has diminished his edge, but Moicano strongly disagrees. He highlighted Cejudo's high fight IQ, elite wrestling, and ability to make mid-fight adjustments as key factors that make him a serious threat in the division. Unlike many fighters who rely on raw athleticism, Cejudo's ability to outthink his opponents gives him an advantage that doesn't fade with time. His striking improvements under the guidance of coach Eric Albarracin have transformed him into a well-rounded fighter capable of competing at the highest level. Moicano also dismissed the notion that Cejudo's size is a disadvantage. Throughout his career, Cejudo has proven that he can overcome physical limitations with skill, technique, and relentless pressure. Whether he's facing a taller opponent or someone with a longer reach, Cejudo finds ways to close the distance and implement his game plan. As he prepares for his next challenge, Moicano warns that those writing him off may be in for a surprise. Cejudo has always thrived on proving people wrong, and if history is any indication, he could once again silence his doubters. With a legacy already cemented, the former champ is now looking to add another chapter to his storied career, and Moicano believes the MMA world should not underestimate what he's capable of achieving. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Israel Adesanya fires back at fans calling him washed. The former UFC middleweight champion has had enough of the criticism and is making it clear that he's far from done. After losing his title to Sean Strickland and taking time off to reset, Adesanya has been hearing the doubters questioning whether his best days are behind him. However, the last stylebender isn't one to stay silent. In a fiery response, Adesanya addressed the critics, reminding them of his dominance in the division and his ability to bounce back stronger. He pointed out that every great champion experiences setbacks, but that doesn't define their legacy, citing legends like Anderson Silva and Georges St-Pierre, who both faced adversity before reclaiming greatness. Adesanya emphasized that he's on a similar path. He also took aim at the short-term memory of MMA fans, highlighting how quickly people forget his dominant wins over top contenders like Alex Pereira Pereira, Robert Whittaker, Marvin Vettori, and Paulo Costa. Many of those same fighters went on to become top-tier competitors, yet Adesanya was the one who shut them down in their prime. He assured his supporters that his hunger remains intact and that he's more motivated than ever to prove everyone wrong. Adesanya also addressed the criticism about his fight style, particularly from those who claim he has become too cautious. He reminded fans that MMA is a game of strategy and high stakes, and that a single mistake at the highest level can cost a fighter everything. He admitted that he has learned from his losses, but warned that people are making a mistake if they think he's lost his killer instinct. He hinted at changes in his training and mindset, stating that he's coming back as a smarter, sharper, and even more dangerous version of himself. As for his return, Adesanya didn't give an exact date, but made it clear that he will step back into the octagon when the time is right. Whether it's a rematch with Strickland, a trilogy with Pereira, or another top contender, he promised to remind the world why he was one of the most feared middleweights in UFC history. The critics may talk, but Adesanya is focused on one thing, proving them all wrong. One half. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Ilia Topuria says Islam Makhachev is scared of him. The newly crowned UFC featherweight champion didn't hold back when discussing a potential future clash with the reigning lightweight king. Fresh off his dominant title victory, Topuria is brimming with confidence and believes Makhachev is avoiding a showdown with him. In a recent interview, Topuria stated that he sees clear holes in Makhachev's game and is certain he would exploit them if they ever met inside the octagon. While acknowledging Makhachev's dominance and grappling prowess, Topuria insists his striking, speed, and fight IQ would be too much for the Dagestani champion to handle. Makhachev, who has solidified himself as one of the most dominant fighters in the UFC with his elite grappling and suffocating top control, has yet to directly respond to Topuria's claims. However, the idea of a potential clash between the two champions is already creating a buzz among fans. Many believe Topuria's relentless pressure, knockout power, and elite-level boxing could pose serious problems for Makhachev, while others argue that the lightweight champion's wrestling would be the ultimate equalizer. Topuria has made it clear that while he intends to defend his featherweight title, a move to lightweight is inevitable. He believes he possesses the skill set needed to dethrone Makhachev, and his confidence has only grown after capturing UFC gold. With an undefeated record and a growing reputation as one of the most dangerous fighters in the promotion, Topuria sees himself as the next big superstar, capable of ruling multiple weight classes. The possibility of this super fight depends on multiple factors, including Topuria's next title defense and Makhachev's upcoming bout, likely against Dustin Poirier or another top contender. If both champions continue their winning streaks, a future showdown could become one of the biggest fights in UFC history. Whether Makhachev truly fears Topuria or not remains to be seen, but the war of words between the two is already adding fuel to an exciting potential matchup.